Hey Queens, how are you? Happy Friday. Yes, happy Friday. Listen, I'm so happy to be with you guys again today, okay? And we're just going to have like some queen talk, right? And today we're going to talk about queens and chivalry, right? And so, yeah, if you're new here, I just want to welcome you. I want to thank you for being a part of Queensation. Queensation is a ministry that encourages women back to the light of royalty as they emerge from the darkness of savagery. We believe that queens regenerate queens, right? We're heavy on discipleship over here on the page Queensation, and Jesus is Lord, okay? And so, thank you and welcome, okay? So, let's just get right into it, right? Queens and chivalry. It goes hand in hand. And chivalry is a code of conduct, right? It's like, the knights back in the medieval times or whatever. And there were soldiers that were called knights, right? And they were they were held to a high standard, okay? And so chivalry is basically a code of conduct. And queens, we must conduct ourselves, according to these five things that I'm going to talk about today, okay? For the most part. Now, we understand, that anybody can have an off day. Anybody can go through, a situation where, you may drop something, right? But the important thing is to go back and pick it up, okay? So the first thing that I want to talk about today is the first thing in the code of conduct, okay, is loyal, right? Loyal. A queen must be loyal. However, okay, loyal means faithful and dedicated. But when you're being loyal, make sure you're being loyal to the right stuff, okay? The right stuff, the right things, the right people. And most of all, God. Because what you're going to find out is that with this code of conduct, if you can't be these things to God, you can't be these things to anyone else, not even yourself, okay? And so, loyal, right? That's number one. Means that be faithful, okay? And be dedicated, okay? Number one, to God. Number two, to yourself. And number three, to all the right things and people, right? In life. Okay, number two, courteous, okay? Be courteous, which means be respectful. Queens must always be respectful. We can't, no matter how hard people make it for us sometimes, we can't be disrespectful, okay? Because that type of stuff, it follows you, right? And even if you're having a moment, right, even in the worst of situations, you can't just fly out the handle and be disrespectful, because somebody might recognize you, when you're moved on, you forgot about it, that's your past, right? And somebody be like, I remember she cussed that woman out in the store, you know what I'm saying? And so that type of stuff follows you, right? Not saying that, you can't, it's not going to happen, okay? Not saying that you won't find yourself, slipping. But once you get this type of stuff, the more you practice it, the more you get it in your spirit, the more you change your mindset, it becomes second nature to you, okay? And so, listen, can I be transparent? Like, sometimes stuff might come up, in my spirit, but it don't come out my mouth, right? And that's what makes the difference, because God never said that it wasn't gonna come up, okay? But is what come out, okay? Because in the word it says it's not what goes into a man that defiles a man, but what comes out, okay? And even when you find it coming up and it's still not coming out, that means you still have work to do, right? You have to go ahead and cast that thing down and be like, God, I'm sorry. You know what I'm saying? Even when it don't come out, just go ahead and repent, because, honey, the next time it may come out. You know what I'm saying? And so, and so we don't want that type of stuff even in our spirit. You get what I'm saying? And so we want to make sure that we're being respectful, okay? So number three is protective. And when I say protective, I mean protective of your relationship with God, right? Your relationship with God, protective over your own life, protective over your heart, right? Protective of your mind, protective over the relationships that mean the most to you, right? You have to be protective over your prayer life, right? Because I'm gonna tell you something. When the enemy can't really get to you like he wants to, he'll use stuff around you, okay? He'll start messing stuff up around you. He'll start messing with the people, or even get in the people that's close to you so they can then attack you, okay? And so he don't play fair. And so we must protect ourselves. We must protect our relationship with God. Let me tell you something. I talked about this yesterday. The devil know what we like, okay? Let me just go on and tell you. You want to know how he knows? Is because he's the prince of the air. That's what the Bible tells us. He's the prince of the air. And so whatever you allow to come out of your mouth, he hears it, right? So he know, and usually we're very vocal about the things we want in life. And so when he hears it, you know what I'm saying? He gonna take it and figure out how he can work with it. Like, what can I do? How can I trip her up with this? Or, how can I tempt her? Because there's a saying that goes, the imposter always comes before the real thing. You get what I'm saying? Like, for instance, everybody can afford a real Michael Kors bag or, a Gucci belt or whatever. So they get the knockoff. But a lot of times the knockoff look just like the real deal. You get what I'm saying? Like, you can't really tell the real from the fake. Like, it may be, a small detail, you know what I'm saying, that makes the difference. And so that's just like in life. Like, he know what you want, so he gonna send you the closest thing, to where you feel like, oh, that's it. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's my promise. Like, that's what God is sending me. You know what I'm saying? Can I just be real? Y'all know what I'm talking about. Like, he mostly do it with men, when it comes to women, okay? And so he know what you like, you know what I'm saying? And so, yeah, he gonna send you the closest thing to that to get you off course, to keep you distracted, to infiltrate, your relationship with God, to knock you off course, right? Because we're on a path to destiny, okay? Y'all know the saying that we use over here at Queensation: purpose plus vision plus faith plus works equals destiny, right? And so the enemy want to rob you of that, because he only come to steal, to kill, and to destroy. So he gonna give you what you want so he can just go on and mess your whole life up. You know what I'm saying? By the time you look up, you all the way off course. You know what I'm saying? Like, girl. And so that's how it works. That's how the enemy works. So we have to protect our mind, protect our spirits, protect our relationship with God, protect everything that's near and dear to us, okay? Also, number 4 is honorable, right? And this means worthy of honor or righteous, right? So queens must be honorable. We must live a righteous life. Now, did I say a perfect life? No, but we have to strive for that perfection, right? Will we ever obtain it? No. That's why we need Jesus. But we have to keep striving to be that perfect person. We have to keep striving to be better, right? We have to keep working on our weaknesses, right? And we don't want to keep getting tripped up on the same thing over and over again. And so we have to live that righteous, that righteous life. Like, I want to do what's right regardless, right? I want to have that integrity. I want to do what's right even when nobody is watching, okay? Because even when no human eyes are on me, God's eyes are on me. He sees me and he knows me, right? And so I want to make sure that I'm living a life that's pleasing to him, a life that's acceptable to him, okay? Not only in word, but in deed as well. Okay, number 5, gentle. Now, this is the one that some of us queens, okay, have a problem with. But we must be gentle, right? We must be gentle. And gentle is merciful, kind, and compassionate, right? But we have a tendency when people do stuff to us, like, we buck up, okay? We turn into little baby Hulks, And so we have to practice being gentle, okay? Having that gentle spirit, being kind, right? Being nice, even when people even when people keep poking at you, like, just be nice, be kind, be compassionate, show love, even when, we may feel like a person don't deserve it, right? You still have to show that love, because when you are ugly to people, okay, when you're not nice to people, it's not a reflection on them, it's a reflection on you, right? And so no matter how a person treats you, we have to always be able to just walk away, okay? That's a way I can be gentle, if I walk away, right? And another thing, in order for me to be gentle, sometimes I just have to, hang up my phone, because it's my phone and this is my peace, and I don't have to allow anyone to disturb my peace on my phone that I pay the bill on. So in order for me to be gentle, sometimes I just have to hit that red button, okay? Say, all right, okay, bye, in the red button. So be gentle, be merciful. You know what I'm saying? Like, be forgiving. Don't hold grudges, because when you hold grudges, it's like cancer. Like, it spreads throughout everything that you do. You know what I'm saying? Unforgiveness makes you bitter, and you don't want to be bitter, right? You don't want to be bitter Betty. Okay, we all know a bitter person, and none of us are trying to be her, right? I know I'm not. And so as queens, that's the 5 things, right? Loyal, courteous, protective, honorable, and gentle. So now, as I was preparing this message, it was like God just, dropped the bomb on me, right? So I want y'all to follow me. So queens, we must always be courageous. We have to be brave, not only for ourselves, but for others, okay? Not saying that fear will never creep up, because it will. Anytime you're doing something positive, anytime you're doing something good, anytime God is getting ready to bless you, sometimes our own dreams and visions, like, it'll scare us sometimes, right? But it's supposed to, because we know that we need help. We know that we need God, and we can't do it without him, okay? But for the most part, you're supposed to always be courageous and willing to help others that are weaker than you, okay? We believe that no queen should be left behind. And how can I ensure that no queen is left behind? Well, that means if one of my sisters are weak, then I'm going to reach down and help pick her up, okay? Like, I'm gonna get in the trench with her, and we both coming up out of that trench, right? And so, no, we're not leaving any queens behind, right? We believe in bringing our sisters with us, and, picking one another up when we get weak. The Bible tells us that the strong shall bear the infirmities of the weak, right? And so, yeah, we must always make sure that we are willing to help the weaker person, okay? And so, setting a good example goes far beyond and is more powerful than writing it in words, right? Writing it in words or typing it on the screen. Like, it's easy to type something on the screen. It's easy, to make a social media post. But can you live and be that example? Okay, can you really live out what you're typing? Can you really live out that pretty content that you're putting up? You know what I'm saying? Can you really live that? Can you really be that? Okay, so that's important, to always make sure that your written material and your life is adding up, and it's on one. Okay, and so then God dropped this. He gave me this, okay, as it pertains to loyalty. Jeremiah 2:1-13 and Matthew 22:34-40. Whenever you get a chance, I want you to go read it, because this is what God was saying in Jeremiah. He was saying to the Israelites, he had did all these wonderful things for the Israelites. He brought them out of bondage. He brought them into the land of milk and honey. They didn't have any struggles anymore. They didn't have any worries. Like, they were blessed and highly favored. They had seen him do so many great things for them. And what did they do? They gave God, okay, our God, their behind to kiss, basically, because this is what God was telling them. He was saying, I've done all of this for you, and now that you're here, you're chasing after the gods with the little g, the gods, the idol gods that can do absolutely nothing for you. And so loving God means being loyal to him over everything else that competes with God in our life. And y'all know it's so many things that compete with God for our attention in this world. Do you hear me? Like, so many, money, you know what I'm saying? How I'm gonna get it, where I'm gonna get it from, is it enough for me? You know what I'm saying? Not only that, relationships, right? You know, husband getting on my nerves. I'm so ready to divorce him. Am I going to get a husband? God, are you going to send me one? Or, am I going to be single for the rest of my life? Okay. That type of stuff steals our attention, because what happens is not only that, material things, houses, cars, how I'm going to pay these bills, and, I want this car or I want this house by a certain age. Understand? Like the pressure of the American dream, you know what I'm saying? Or the idea of the American dream is a lot of times what trips Christian people up, right? And so how can we ensure that we stay loyal to God versus these things that we're putting before him so easily sometimes without even realizing that we're doing it, right? How can we not focus so much on those temptations that include but are not limited to money, religion, and things happening in the nations, right? How can we not divide our loyalty to God between God and other things of the world, right? And I had to ask myself, I was like, okay, how can I become loyal to the one true God? To the one true God, rather than chase after other things, right? Because like I said, if we will all be honest, we could be doing so good. We could be on it. You know what I'm saying? Discipline. We on a schedule. When God speak, we're so anxious to do. And the devil's sitting back like, now this heifer done got her whole life together. And he mad, and he don't like that. So what did he do? He used his best weapon, right? Whatever your weakness is, that's what he's gonna use, right? Whatever that thing is that you want the most, that's what he's going to send in as an attack, right? And so we have to be so careful that we are praying in such a way that we're saying, God, okay, help me to stay focused, right? Help me not to be deceived by the tempter, right? Because he's so cunning. I'm telling you, it can come in the form of a friendship. Whether you find yourself on the phone all the time when normally you would be studying your word, right? It can come in the form of a job, okay? You feel like this job a blessing because it's paying you so much money, but now you don't have no time for God. You ain't praying like you used to. You ain't fasting like you used to. Okay? You ain't listening to your worship music like you used to. You ain't even worshiping yourself. Okay? And so it can come in different forms. But like I said, that all ties into, the pressures of the American dream. Okay? The American dream, honey, chasing after it will usually, okay, because it's worldly, chasing after that will set you on a path, straight to where you don't want to go, right? And it will get you off course because God has a purpose and a plan for your life, okay? And if the enemy can get you off course, he will delay it. Not saying that it will stop completely, because hopefully you will come to yourself and realize, wait a minute, I ain't studying like I used to. I'm not reading my Bible like I used to. I'm not praying like I used to. I'm not even operating in purpose like I was doing, right? And so that's how you know, oh my goodness, like that was an attack from the enemy. And so then you have to begin to sever those ties of the things that was holding you back, right? And so if we love God, in Matthew, that's what that scripture was about, Matthew 22:34 through 40. Because how can we ensure that we stay loyal to God, right? Is if we take a moment to ask ourselves some serious questions. What do I want most in life, right? What is it that I want? Is it that I want operate in love? Do I want to love God more than anything? Do I want to operate in my purpose more than anything, right? Or is it that I want the things of the world more? Like, what am I giving most of my attention to, right? What am I giving most of my attention to? Because if you love God with everything within you, with your mind, your body, with your mind, your strength, your soul, your heart, and then you don't have to worry about not loving people. You know what I'm saying? Because that's the greatest commandment, to love the Lord your God with all of your heart. Okay, all of your mind, with everything within you. Okay, that's the greatest commandment. And why is that the greatest commandment? Right? Because God knows that if you love me like you're supposed to, everything else is going to follow. If you love me like you're supposed to, you'll have no problem loving your enemies. You'll have no problem loving your neighbor, right? Because you love me. Right? And so when I tell you, God snatched my edges today, he did. He snatched my edges because I'm one that when I'm with you, I'm with you. And I'm a loyal person. Like, I'm one of them chicks that's going to ride with you till the wheels fall off. You know what I'm saying? But, sometimes you have to realize that every connection is not a divine connection. Okay? Every relationship is not God ordained. Everything that we feel like is a blessing, like every opportunity, is not a blessing. Okay? It's a distraction. Okay? Everything that comes our way, we have to see if it lines up with God. Because if not, it's only something that can it can be something that will get us off course. It can be something that can cause a distraction in our lives to make us miss the next move of God. And I don't know about you. Listen, I can't afford to miss anything else. I can't afford it, right? And so we just have to make sure that we stay focused. Make sure as a queen that you are living by this code of conduct every single day, right? Let's get as close to perfect as we can, right? Because only what we do for Christ is going to last, okay? And that's my time, because I didn't want to hold you guys too long, but I did want to just share the word of God with you all. And I pray that I will get a chance to see you all right back here on tomorrow in some way, shape, or form. It may not be a video, could be an audio, or it could be something I write up. Who knows, okay? But hopefully I'll see you guys right back here tomorrow. I love you. Bye-bye.